But let's come back to Mauritius. The big headline here was cut resources by 50%. You saw some examples there. So let's see, Luis, once we are diving into Mauritius now, for the next slide, I think we asked the question, how is it possible on Mauritius? Okay, let's have a look at one project that was done by Business Mauritius, and I love that project a lot. In the beginning of that project here, Sustainable Island Mauritius, Darren and the MDA brought us together with this people, with great people from Business Mauritius, and they showed us a project, and we built on that project. There are a lot of experts on Mauritius. We have a lot of good examples of hotels that have cut a lot of on their consumption. Last time we were talking about Attitude and Beachcomber doing a lot of things. There are many, many in the room that do a lot of things. Let's look at some of the results. This is a project. This project was done in 2015 and 2017 with 16 and 7 hotels. And on the next chart, this are the overview of where the energy goes. And you saw with Sean Nino that it's very important to understand. You have a bill and you want to understand where does it flow, where does the waste go, where does the water go. So to installing submeters, if you do that, you generally get this kind of picture, and we have it in the how-to flyers and our flyers also integrated, that the most energy, well, obviously goes into climatization and also the kitchen, but also into pumps and all these different aspects. So this is different from hotel to hotel, but only if you measure, you get that picture, and only if you get that picture, you can dive into different measures. So we want to inspire, we want to invite you to take the next step with us into measuring. And if you do that, then you can see results like this. The next chart, Luis, is about really what was the result of that project. Here you see the result of the 16 site audits. It was 550 million rupees, and 36% of that could be saved by that energy audit. There were energy audits being done in this 16 big properties, and 36% could be saved out of that totally energy amount. You looked at the Bali case, it was 50%. So there's some, let's say, there are some possibilities more, but 36%. And I think the next indicator is also interesting. 11% could be saved within the 6 months, and all that without minimizing the quality for the guests. So the payback time was around 1.6 years, for some measures, even below 1 year. And there are some investments. And I can really confirm that, and I'm very happy at my side as an engineer. We have done now 300 energy audits, and approximately all of that 300 audits, the average is 30% savings. And the next project was on 7 hotels, 2017. There it was, if you go for the next, Luis, on the next, it was a little bit less because it was only 7 hotels here, but the same amount, 35% could be saved on that. So this is a promising indication, and I know that many of you are diving into that possibilities to save energy. And let's dive a little bit into the future. I've seen hotels in the world that produce more energy than they consume. It is a little bit mind-breaking today that this is possible, but it will be possible for the future onto that path. So here the payback time was 1.7 years. So all in all, it's a very promising opportunity if you really go into measurement, that you really can save different aspects. We have done the same on this project with our engineer here, and I think I'll show you some pictures on the next chart. Torsten was with us. Here you see, for example, on the left side, we were showing every hotel that we had been working with. We had been working with 7 hotels in diving deep into an energy audit. And here we showed a saving, shower head saving, that cut the water consumption by half, and by the way, also the hot water that is produced for that by half. And some people don't understand how it works. That's why we always bring that shower head and test it in a room to how does it feel. And we tested it with everyone, and all that 7 hotels were very amazed by that savings. And so they try to really head for that kind of saving head. We were diving on, can you go back for a minute, Luis? We were diving onto some solar panels. We were diving onto air conditioning, into the filtering water. And so we dived deep into that. The next chart is then at the end, we presented all that to the team. That's the next chart now. And some of you might be with us. This was the Rogers group here and Veranda. It was really a pleasure. At the end, we presented all the results, finally discussed what was possible. And I brought you some examples, what we found on Mauritius. And I think that's the next chart, Luis, about some of the measures that we really found into that energy audit. So using solar heating to produce warm water. A lot of you are doing it, but we have still seen some that are not doing it. So there are very big opportunities. Another point is connect washing machines to hot water instead of cold water. That's a very promising measure we found. Use smaller freezer units instead big freezer rooms, especially in times of low occupancy when it's starting again. Install water efficient shower heads, payback time normally 3 months. Install frequency converters for the ventilation system. Replace all fluorescent T8 lamps. That these are the small tube lamps. Some people don't know that there's LED lamps existing for that. Payback time normally under 6 months, especially in the kitchen areas, in the offices where the light runs normally very long. And that's what also the guy on the Bali video talked about, is optimize the conversion rate for the pools, because if you really clean your pool like 16 to 20 times and you only have to do it by law maybe 6-8 times, then it's really a question of how you can optimize that. And the last idea that we found was very possible is check glass filters. So now with that, with a Bali example, was how we thought that it's very important to dive into measuring. I hand over to Luis now to introduce you to the tool, because only if you measure, you know, and only if you know, you can communicate. So this is our inspiration, our invitation to dive into measuring. Luis.